Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something really incredible. We're mentally mapping out the monumental scale of India's largest, most dynamic living river network, the Ganga River system. We aren't just looking at water flowing on a map here. We're literally tracing a living, breathing entity that dictates geography, history, and honestly, the very survival of countless ecosystems. Let's get into it. So, here's our itinerary. We're going to cover the mountain origins, tackle development versus environment, take a journey through the plains, dive into the tale of the tributaries, and finally explore the Great Sundarbans Delta.
All right, part 1, the mountain origins, where it all begins.
We're starting our journey way up in the fragile, constantly shifting, young fold mountains of the Himalayas. Just close your eyes for a second and visualize this. We're high up in Uttarakhand in the Uttarkashi district at this freezing, rocky place called Gomukh. Water is violently rushing out of the Gangotri Glacier. But, and here's the wild part, at this exact spot, it's not actually called the Ganga yet. Actually, for this first leg of its life, the river is known as the Bhagirathi. So how does it get its famous name? Well, it's all about how the river builds its identity. Think of the Alaknanda River, coming down from the Satapanth Glacier, as this massive, moving collector. It just keeps gathering water from all these incoming tributaries, the Doli Ganga, Nandakini, Pindar, and Mandakini, at these very specific sacred confluences we call prayags. And then, finally, carrying all that immense weight of water, the Alaknanda crashes into our initial river, the Bhagirathi, at Devprayag. It's literally only after this massive collision of waters that it officially becomes the Ganga. Moving on to part 2, development versus environment, a modern conflict. Now, we have to look at a pretty brutal reality objectively. It's a massive balancing act. On one hand, we absolutely need infrastructure development, right? Tunnels, roads, massive dams like Terry, they're crucial for national progress. But on the flip side, ecological stability is non-negotiable. We're dealing with young fold mountains here, where places like Joshimet are built on loose river debris, not solid rock. When we drill into that kind of earth for major projects, we can accidentally rupture natural underground water pouches. The result? Severe land subsidence. Look at Joshimet. It's literally sinking 2 to 3 centimeters every single year. It's a tragic, perfect example of the friction between human progress and environmental preservation. Okay, section 3, journey through the plains, entering the flatlands. Leaving those precarious mountains behind, the mighty river finally breaks free and gracefully enters the flatlands down at Haridwar. And as it expands across these northern plains, it becomes this massive geographic and economic lifeline. It actually travels its absolute longest continuous stretch through Uttar Pradesh and makes a super quick, short dash through Jharkhand. Eventually, it hits West Bengal and boom, a major geographic bifurcation happens. It splits into 2 completely distinct paths. One branch becomes the Hooghly River, heading straight south to serve Kolkata, and the other branch reclaims that historical name, Bhagirathi, as it continues onward toward the Bangladesh border. Which brings us to section 4, tale of the tributaries, feeding the main channel. Because the main channel is really only half the story, right? Countless other river systems feed into it. Take the Ramganga River, for instance. It flows right through some incredibly historic land, Ramganga National Park. You probably know it by its old name, Jim Corbett National Park. This was India's very first national park and tiger reserve. Now, historically, it was famous for man-eating tigers, which was basically a direct result of humans encroaching on thick forests. But today, tragically, tiger populations have declined, so the ecological focus has totally shifted. Now the Ramganga is a crucial refuge for super rare species, like the blossom-headed parakeet and those critically endangered long-snouted crocodiles we call gharials. Honestly, every single tributary has its own unique story. The Gomti River, for example, is totally wild because it's the only northern tributary that doesn't originate up in the mountains. It's born entirely down in the plains. Then you have the deeply misunderstood Kosi River. People call it the sorrow of Bihar and blame it for these massive regional floods. But here's the objective truth. The Kosi is only a villain because humans have built settlements directly inside its natural, historical floodplains. The river is literally just doing what it's done for thousands of years. And that perfectly illustrates just how dynamic our planet is. Have you ever heard of river capturing? It's this mind-blowing geological phenomenon where a larger, more powerful river alters its own course to intersect and physically steal the water flow of a smaller river. I'm serious. Historically, around the time of the Battle of Plassey, the Teesta was a major tributary of the Ganga. But over time, the massive Brahmaputra just shifted its course and straight up captured the Teesta for itself. Nature is wild. Even the massive Yamuna hasn't always flowed where it does today. Centuries ago, the Yamuna shifted its allegiance entirely. It originally flowed into the ancient Saraswati River. You know, the very riverbanks where the Harappan civilization thrived. But after massive tectonic shifts and land uplifts, the Yamuna diverted its course to join the Ganga at Prayagraj. This left the Saraswati to dry up completely, fundamentally altering the course of human civilization in that whole region. These rivers aren't static lines on a map. They are constantly moving, living entities. All right, Section 5, the Great Sundarbans Delta, where river meets sea. Our journey finally reaches its climax as this unbelievable volume of water crosses international borders. Visualizing this shift is so essential. As these mighty Indian rivers enter Bangladesh, they go through this highly complex series of name changes and monumental merges. First, the Ganga crosses the border and gets renamed the Padma. Next, the incredibly powerful Brahmaputra joins the system, and it takes on the name Jamuna. Further down, the Barak River flows in from Manipur, becoming the Meghna. Ultimately, these colossal rivers merge entirely, and this massive combined super river flows out into the Bay of Bengal under one single final name, the Meghna. And all of that combined water creates something absolutely magnificent, the Sundarbans, the absolute largest river delta in the entire world. It's this incredibly dense, marshy ecosystem dominated by massive mangrove forests, specifically the Sundari trees. And get this, the muddy ground is so saturated with water that the trees literally grow their roots upwards, reaching out into the air just to breathe. No way, right? Plus, not only is this tangled forest the ultimate domain of the Royal Bengal tiger, but all that thick vegetation acts as an indispensable natural barrier, protecting inland populations from deadly ocean cyclones. But as we marvel at this incredible ecosystem, there's a really harsh reality we have to face. Tragically, out of all the amazing river systems on planet Earth, there are only 5 species of true freshwater dolphins left in existence today. Just 5. And one of those precious few is the Ganges River dolphin. Which really leaves us at a critical crossroads today. We all want the fruits of development, right? Right now, we're constructing National Waterway 1 to run massive commercial cargo ships from Prayagraj all the way down to Kolkata. But that route cuts right through the very heart of the endangered Ganges River dolphin's last remaining natural habitat. We undeniably need economic progress, but as we look at the monumental, awe-inspiring scale of this entire river system, we have to ask ourselves, can we find a way to achieve that progress without completely sacrificing our ancient, fragile ecosystems? What is the ultimate ecological cost of our modern convenience? I'll leave you to think on that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer and keep questioning the world around you.